Hey friends, welcome back to my channel, and this is official Cambridge Guide to IELTS test number 2, passage number 2. And this is the first time me doing this practice test, this passage. So you can see how I answer these questions. You can see the first time me doing this passage, and I'm sure you will get a lot of value from this. Without further ado, let's begin. So the name of the passage is Down on, of the Robots. So we have this title, and we also have the subheading. And in my opinion, it's so important so that you can get the idea of what the passage looks like, and then we're gonna go to the questions and like underline keywords. So let's read the subtitle, the subheading, sorry. They're already here, driving cars, vacuuming carpets, and feeding hospital patients. They may not be walking, talking, human like sentient being, but they are clever and a little creepy. So it talks about the robots, and it's telling that they're already here, like they're driving cars, they're doing a lot of stuff, like feeding hospital patients, and they are not doing what humans do, but they are really clever, right? So now let's go to the questions. The first question type in this passage is matching headings. I'm not gonna read these headings because it may actually distract me, okay? So let's go to the second type of question. Here we have three researchers, a list of people. I'm not gonna bother myself reading those names of those researchers because I only have 60 minutes in IELTS reading. I mean, why will I waste my time to read the names of those people, right? What I'm gonna do is find keywords in these questions. Question number 20. An important concern for scientists is to ensure that robots do not seem frightening. Okay. I believe that you know what frightening means. It means like threatening. So yeah, it's a little like a little bit negative. Yeah, we've stopped trying to enable robots to perceive objects as humans do. We've stopped trying to enable robots to perceive objects as humans do. Okay, it's also about the objects, right? Perceiving them. It will take considerable time for modern robots to match the ones we've created in films and books. Okay, we gotta like which researcher told about this. So we need to enable robots to move freely before we think about trying to communicate with them. We need to give them some sort of a freedom before we actually consider about trying to communicate with them, okay? So the next and last question type of this reading passage is note completion. I believe note completion questions are like really easy. And one thing that is very important in this question type is this. How many words you can write? And this plays a huge role, man. I've seen a lot of students making those mistakes over and over again. They just don't pay attention to it. In your real exam, like if you're taking it like in the paper, I highly recommend you to write three so that you remind yourself that you can't choose no more than three words. Robot features, it has to be a robot features about that. Here we have a really great keyword which is unchangeable. If you don't know, I'm gonna tell it. Like there are two types of keywords: unchangeable and changeable keywords. Unchangeable keywords are those that you can't paraphrase, and like there are also keywords that can be paraphrased. They can use the synonym of it, or they can use it in a little bit of a different form, or they might change the grammatical form of that word. And here, their DARPA is actually unchangeable keyword phrase cars. So what's the feature? What we need a plural noun here, and that provides map and plans for roads. Okay, interesting. Electric. Uh, I'm not gonna bother myself reading this because I only have limited time, man. And I'm sure that this is also unchangeable keyword, so it's gonna be easy to find the location. Like the first step to answering the question correct is to find the relevant location, right? So by like doing this, all this stuff, you just do the first step, man. And this builds an image of a room. That's important by sending out. What do they send out? We're gonna know it. Robot kitchen humanoids. Okay, it's about kitchen. They have something. We need a singular noun to take orders. Okay. So we've analyzed the questions. Like in the real exam, it's not gonna take this too much time. The reason why it took a little more time is because I actually explained some things to you, and all this thought process will be in my mind. And for me, it's like it's gonna be much faster. So now let's start reading the first paragraph. Okay. At first sight, it looked like a typical suburban road accident. A Land Rover approached a Chevy Ohio state car that had stopped at the curb. The Land Rover pulled out and tried to pass the Tahoe just as it started off again. There was a crack of fenders and the sound of paintwork being scraped, the kind of minor misshape that occurs on roads thousands of times every day. Normally, drivers get out, gesticulate, exchange insurance details, and then drive off. But not on this occasion. No one got out of the cars for the simple reasons that they had no humans inside them. Oh, that's interesting, right? The Ohio and Land Rover were being controlled by computers competing in November's DARPA, the US Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency Urban Challenge. So, the main idea of this like paragraph, the paragraph A, is like it's not something that happens every time, right? Like, but not on this occasion, right? No one got out of the car. Like, it's all the opposite. Like, you think that this is gonna happen, but this is not something. It's like it's gonna be the opposite, right? So let's go to the headings and try to match that. Okay. Technical issue, no, nothing about approach, right? In this paragraph. Improvement on last time, nothing about improvement, nothing about human lives here, examples of robot at work. We don't have anything about those examples, not what it seemed to be. That's actually, yeah, I guess that's the correct heading, but let me like make sure that the others don't fit. Why time scales are impossible to predict, nothing about it. The reason why robots rarely move, nothing about it. Following the pattern of an earlier development, no. The ethical issues of robotics, no. So the correct heading for paragraph A is fifth one. And the what we have to do is like eliminate this one, okay? Oh, that's been, yeah. Can I do it like thinner? Yeah, it's possible. Okay. So by eliminating this, we're just like making our job easier. By the way, we had about this DARP as well, right? It's like introduce it what it is, right? It's the U.S. Defense Advanced Research Program Projects Agency Urban Challenge, right? Have you had these like researchers or like people? In my opinion, no. We didn't have any of those. Nothing about those features yet, right? So let's move on to paragraph B. So by the way, let me write down that 14 came from this paragraph. Okay. The idea that machines could perform to such standards is startling. Okay. Driving is a complex task that takes humans a long time to perfect. So for humans, it takes a lot of time to drive the car correctly, right? Yet here, each car had its own onboard computer. Okay, interesting. I guess they're talking about this DARPA project, right? They're explaining what features it has in the next paragraph. This is kind of logical, right? Loaded with a digital map and road plans and was instructed to negotiate busy roads, differentiate between pedestrians and stationary objects, determine whether other vehicles were parked or moving off, and handle various parking maneuvers which robots turn out to be unexpectedly adept at. Adept at means be really good at it, right? So we have about these race cars, right? So we need a plural noun that provides maps and plans for roads. Okay. Uh, yeah. Had its onboard computer, right? Here we have a map, and road plans is the paraphrased version of plans for roads, right? That's easy, right? So the answer for question number 24 is onboard computers. Let me look. Like my suggestion to you is uh, right, don't make a mistake in spelling. Just look at the passage again, so that to ensure, even if you know it 100%, like onboard computer. Oh, by the way, I was like mistaken, like it because there is s, like it has to be singular. Sorry about that. I mean, unconsciously, I said like plural. Onboard computer, computer. Okay, let me change the size of these words. Make it much bigger. Yes, it's too big. Yeah, this is enough. Okay. But it's somewhere here. Yeah. Okay. We found the first two, like 24 as well. And it was here. Let me write it down so that it just gives me a lot of motivation. 24. We found it from here. Okay. Even more striking was the fact that collision between the robot Land Rover built by researchers at the MIT. You know, MIT is the like best engineering school in the United States, and the Tsehu fitted out by Cornell University artificial intelligence experts was the only scrape in the entire competition. Okay, that's interesting. Yet, only 3 years earlier, at DARPA's previous driverless car race, every robot competitor directed to navigate across a stretch of open desert either crashed or seized up before getting near the finishing line. Oh, that's bad, I guess, because 3 years ago, like in his previous, like there were no humans who like rode the car, and there was a race, and there were only robots who drove it, and they couldn't actually go to the finish line, get to the finish line. I mean, that's so bad because they were crushed or seized up. That's bad. So I want something like a something from negative to going to positive, right? And I guess going from something negative to a positive would be some sort of a development, right? Yeah. Like my advice to you is to always like think in a way like guess what the meaning of the passage and then go to the headings. As I did here, like development is the word that I'm gonna be looking for. And even if I don't have the exact word development, I might have the synonym, right? So let's go to the headings. Tackling the issue using a different approach. Not sure. A significant improvement on last time? Yeah, exactly. Like development means improvements, right? Like this is the exact like heading. How robots can save human lives. No, nothing about that. So nothing about this. So the answer is the second heading, 15. It's a remarkable transition that has clear implications for the car of the future. That's a good transition, right? From bad to good. More importantly, it demonstrates how robotics, sciences, and artificial intelligence have progressed in the past few years. A point stressed by Bill Gates. So here we have Bill Gates, right? I'm sure you know who that is, who that person is. He's the Microsoft boss, right? Who is a convert to these causes. Good. The robotics industry is developing in much the same way the computer business did 30 years ago. He argues, as he points out, electronics companies make toys that mimic pets and children with increasing sophistication. I can envision a future in which robotic devices will become a nearly ubiquitous part of our day to day lives. Says Gates. We may be on the verge of a new era when the PC will get up off the desktop and allow us to see, hear, touch, and manipulate objects in places where we are not physically present. So Bill Gates is telling that like the robotics industry is like booming. Like we might even control the objects that we do not actually see or hear. We can like move them by our computer, by our desktop, even if you're not there, right? So that's a claim that he makes. Let's look at these, like which of these fits. Nothing about concern, nothing about like stopping, like trying to enable them. Nothing about films and books yet. Nothing about freedom. Okay, interesting. We might have actually like what Bill Gates says in other next paragraphs, in the following paragraphs as well. So this passage overall was more about uh, uh, those what Bill Gates told and like the pattern like 30 years ago the computer business was booming and now the robotics industry is booming, right? And it tells some sort of features that robotics like artificial intelligence can do. So let's go to the headings, right? Nothing about this, nothing about you. We can actually eliminate the second one. Yeah. Nothing about human lives, nothing about examples of robots at work. Nothing about that. Falling off an early development. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the correct answer choice. Like the correct heading, eight's one, because by far the best heading that matches is this one. because there was an earlier development, and by following that pattern, it now has better ones, right? Yeah, I believe the correct heading is eighth one. We can eliminate this one. So yeah, let's move on. So 16 is here. Let's move on to the next paragraph. What is the potential for robots and computers in the near future? Like, it's questioning what's the potential for them? The fact is, we still have a way to go before real robots catch up with their science fiction counterparts. Yeah, I guess science fiction means like films and all these books, right? We had that about it, right? And the interesting thing is like, who was it? Bill Gates, right? Yeah, says it, right? Here we have it. It will take considerable time for modern robots to match the ones we have created in films and books. Films and books is the paraphrased version of science fiction, right? We still have a way to go means it will take considerable time. Modern robots is the same as before real robots. Catch up means match, right? So the correct answer for 22 is A. 22. Okay, so what are the stumbling blocks? Interesting. One key difficulty is getting robots to know their place. This has nothing to do with class or antiquity, but concerns the simple issue of positioning. Humans orient themselves with other objects in a room very easily. Robots find the task almost impossible, right? Even something as simple as telling the difference between an open door and a window can be tricky for robots, says Gates. This has until recently reduced robots to fairly static and cumbersome roles. Okay, the issue with those robots is that they find the task of positioning themselves almost impossible. Like, they can't even tell the difference between an open door, and a window, right? That's bad, right? That's a big disadvantage of those robots. Nothing but electric stribalites, I guess. I might not be pronouncing it correctly because, like, it doesn't matter. Okay, nothing about this. Which heading is it? Like D, right? Yeah, D. And like if I had to tell the main point of this paragraph, it would be like mm, the simple issue of positioning. Yeah, the simple issue of positioning. That would be the heading I would give. Let's try to match that. We don't have any approach. Nothing about saving human lives, nothing about examples, nothing about time scales. Yeah, rarely move means issue of positioning, right? Positioning actually means moving, right? We don't have multiple issues. We have only one issue, so that's why 9 is not the correct heading. So the correct heading for 17 is 7th one. Okay, so let's continue. How many paragraphs? We have two paragraphs left. Interesting. So we can move on to the next one. By the way, it was 17, right? So that I can write it. You have 17. For a long time, researchers tried to get around the problem by attempting to recreate the visual processing that goes on in in the human cortex. Mhm. However, that challenge has proven to be singularly exacting and complex. So scientists have tended to simpler alternatives. We have become far more pragmatic in our work, says Nello Cristiano, professor of artificial intelligence at the University of Bristol in England and associate editor of the Journal of Artificial Intelligence Research. So there is a problem, like, and that problem is like trying to recreate the visual processing. Like, visual means like something that you have in your like an image that you can see in your mind, processing that goes on in the human cortex. Yeah. So that problem is actually really sophisticated. It's so hard to solve that. Says Nello Cristiano. He's the second science, like researcher, like the person, right? We've stopped trying. Yeah, exactly. We've stopped trying to enable robots to perceive objects as humans do. Perceive objects means visual recreate the visual processing. Human cortex is as humans like perceive them. Like the correct answer for 21 is B. Okay, 21 comes from here. We are no longer trying to recreate human functions. Instead, we are looking for simpler solutions with basic electronic sensors, for example. This approach is exemplified by vacuuming robots, such as the electrolog. I'm not gonna bother myself reading. We have it, right? As I said, it's an unchangeable keyword. You can't change, you can't paraphrase it, right? It's so easy to find the location. That's why I usually find notes completion questions so easy. Like, they're just easy points that you gotta take. Uh huh. So, what sort of information do we need here? Builds, let me do this like here. It builds an image of a room by sending out what? It sends out what, right? Okay, I'm pretty much sure, I'm 100% sure that it's a plural noun. It might also have an adjective is it before that noun. Maybe, I'm not sure. Um, this scuttles around homes emitting ultrasound signals to create maps of rooms which are remembered for future cleaning. So create maps of rooms means building an image of a room. Sending out means emitting, right? Ultrasound signals. That's the answer, right? It's so easy, man. You just gotta know the paraphrase version. This is so easy, man. These are 3 points that you gotta take. 25 comes from here. Ultrasound signals. Text box. Ultrasound signals. Let me ensure whether I wrote it correctly or not. It's so important, man. Do this in your real exam. Just look at it again. If even if you're 100% sure, because you don't want to waste your like the entire answer. You just lose 1 point, one free point. Like it could mean a lot, man. Ultrasound signals. That's correct. Yeah. Even if it's like I was 100% sure, I just did it, man. It's just something that you gotta do, which are remembered for future cleaning. Technology like this is now changing the face of robotics, says philosopher Ron Chrisley. Do we have Ron Chrisley? Yes, we have it. We have him or her. I'm not sure. Like IELTS doesn't assess you on this, man. It assesses on your reading skills. Okay, we have Ron Chrisley, director of the Center for Research in Cognitive Science at the University of Sussex in England. This is now changing the face of robotics. hmm Do we have anything about it? I don't think so. No, I guess. Okay, paragraph E, we have to find the heading for it, right? What's do we have E here, by the way? Uh, yeah. So E, what could that be? What would be something, some sort of heading? Hmm. Let me think about it. Yeah, we have the problem, and we do have a some sort of a strategy to resolve it. I guess. Yeah, yeah. Problem with its solution, maybe something like that. But I'm not 100% sure. In some cases, you might not actually get 100% of it, but you just know the meaning. That's the important thing. Let's go to the headings, okay? Nothing about human lives, nothing about examples of robots, nothing about time scales. We don't have only the issues, we also have some sort of a strategy or like a solution. So I guess the correct heading is the first one. Yeah, first one. Because we have the issue and we have a different approach, like solution, right? So we can eliminate it. We now have four headings left, and only one of them will be selected for question number 19. hmm And now we have the last paragraph, and I'm like sure that we are gonna have one, two, three, four answers in this last paragraph. Last year, a new Hong Kong restaurant robot kitchen. So here we have robot kitchen, right? They have something. We need a singular noun, I guess. Maybe we can have a yeah. We need to take orders. Okay, what can take orders? Open it with a couple of sensor-laden humanoid machines directing customers to their seats. Each possesses a touch screen on which orders are can be keyed in. So orders can be keyed in means take orders. So what takes those orders? A touch screen, right? Possesses means has, right? So the answer is touch screen. Touch screen, okay. Touch screen. So 26. Where was it? Yeah. Came from here. The robot then returns with the correct dishes. In Japan, the University of Tokyo researchers recently unveiled a kitchen android that could wash dishes, pour tea, and make a few limited meals. That's interesting, right? That's good. Like, a robot can do those things. Really good. The ultimate aim is to provide robot home helpers for the sick and the elderly, a key concern in a country like Japan, where 22% of the population is 65 or older. And the target audience for it is the sick and the elderly. And as you know, in Japan, there are a lot of people who are elderly who are over 65, and like 22% of the population is over 65 years old, right? It's not like any other country. Over 1 billion US dollars A year is spent on research into robots that will be able to care for the elderly. Robots first learn basic competence, how to move around the house without bumping into things. Then we think about teaching them how to interact with humans, Chrisley said. Machines such as these take researchers into the field or socialized robotics. How to make robots act in a way that does not scare or offend individuals. Uh-huh. We need to study how robots should approach people, how they should appear. That is going to be a key area for future research, adds Christie. So it doesn't have to be frightening, right? Which we had here, right? To ensure that they do not seem frightening? Exactly, Ron Chrisley said it. Question number 20 is coming from here. And they will first teach the basic competence, and then they're going to teach how to interact with humans, right? That's the exact paraphrased version of we need to enable robots to move freely before we think about trying to communicate with them, right? Before like trying to communicate with them, they have to ensure that they know some basic competence. They know how to walk, like how to move and all that stuff. And it was like said by Ron Chrisley. Question number 23 is coming from here. And we have the last question, which is matching heading. Question number 19, right? Um, so, what is this paragraph about? It is first telling about the touchscreen, like that kitchen, robot kitchen. And then it is talking about how, like, another function of the robots, so that they will what they will teach, and another feature that they will use robots to do, and like how it will be like. If I could tell the main idea of this paragraph, it would be like the use of a range of robots, yeah, use of a range of robots, yeah. Mm, Examples of robots at work, exactly, right? They told about those examples, robot kitchen, and then there were a lot more other examples of those robots. So the answer for question number 19 is for the heading 4. Oh, why is not right? Let me do this one with this one. Yeah. One thing that you gotta know is with the right approach and strategy, you can just get all these questions correct. You just gotta have this strategy, okay? So now let me check the answer choices from the book of it. Let me find it. Just a minute. Yeah. Uh, 14 fifths. Yeah, correct. 15 second. Yeah. 16 will 8. Yeah, correct. 17 7. Correct. 18 1. Correct. That's good. 19 4. Correct. So 20 C. Correct. 21 B. Correct. That's great. That's great. 22 A. Correct. 23 C. Correct. So onboard computer, correct. Ultrasound signals, correct. Touchscreen, correct. Everything is correct. Like 13 out of 13.